The Academy Award-winning actor married me in a fit of pique with his first love. 3 years into our marriage, they remained entangled. On set, they embraced and kissed. In interviews, they exchanged suggestive remarks. Netizens all said I was a pitiful stand-in. I never got angry, I just smiled and helped him clear up every scandal. Until later, I accidentally became pregnant and had an abortion without telling him. He was furious and harshly demanded why. I stroked his eyebrows and calmly replied, because I don't love you. The person I love is his deceased older brother. The whole world knows that He married me to make Tang Isabella jealous. They had a breakup before the wedding, and Tang Isabella left the country in a fit of pique. He didn't spoil her and married me instead. I wore a wedding dress that didn't belong to me and married a man who didn't love me. Everyone said that once Tang Isabella returned, He would abandon me. But in the 3rd year of our marriage, He seemed to start developing feelings for me. He would make breakfast for me, coax me out of bed, and kiss my lips when I acted spoiled. At our sweetest moments, we were inseparable. In the darkness, he whispered seductively to me, "Little darling, give me a child, one as obedient as you." We were like an ordinary, loving couple. Until the day I really became pregnant. Before I could tell He, Tang Isabella returned. That day, they reconciled. The day Tang Isabella returned to the country was the day of their class reunion. It was said that her family had gone bankrupt and she was everywhere trying to borrow money. When He led me into the house, he saw a wealthy male classmate forcing Tang Isabella to drink. He said, "Drink 1 glass, and I'll lend you 10,000. Tang Isabella choked until tears streamed down her face, but she still smiled and drank it all. When she saw He arrive, she suddenly panicked, probably feeling embarrassed, and quickly lowered her head. Someone teased, "Isabella, if you need money, beg Joe, the big movie star. Given your past relationship, if you sleep with him a few times, he won't treat you badly." He coldly glanced over and spoke slowly, "Stop disgusting me." He had a cigarette in his mouth, leaning against my shoulder, and continued, "Anyone who makes my wife unhappy should shut up and get out of here." Everyone laughed, calling me sister-in-law and saying how envious they were that He loved me so much. No one knew that if Tang Isabella hadn't suddenly appeared, He wouldn't have come today. Tang Isabella glared at me, biting her lips tightly to hold back tears. The man who had just forced her to drink placed his hand on her shoulder and rubbed it. He asked her, "What should we do? It seems like Joe, the big movie star, doesn't want you anymore. But it's okay. If he doesn't want you, I will. If you're willing to strip naked and please me in bed, I'll give you some pocket money. How about it?" He crushed the cigarette in his hand, feeling bitter inside, his expression turning icy cold. He still felt sorry for her. Tang Isabella held back her tears and looked up at He. She whispered, "I don't want to. In this lifetime, I only love one person. Even if he doesn't want me, I won't let anyone else touch me." He suddenly tightened his grip, pinching her painfully. The male student, his pride wounded, laughed and called Tang Isabella a slut. "Do you think you're some kind of chaste maiden? Damn it, you don't appreciate what I'm giving you. I'm going to sleep with you tonight, whether you like it or not." He grabbed Tang Isabella and dragged her toward the door. Tang Isabella, drunk, leaned weakly against him, half resisting, half yielding. He's eyes were fixed on Tang Isabella. I could tell he was ready to kill for her. Just as Tang Isabella was about to leave, He couldn't hold back anymore. He took a few steps forward and kicked the man holding Tang Isabella to the ground. He pinned him down and beat him. With bloodshot eyes, he snarled, "If you dare touch Tang Isabella again, I'll cut off your filthy hands." The scene descended into chaos. Someone was recording, so I quickly grabbed He's sleeve, trying to stop him. He turned around and coldly asked me, "Who are you to tell me what to do?" I froze for a moment and let go. Tang Isabella rushed over and hugged him, crying, "Don't fight with him for me. You're hurt, and it's breaking my heart. I was so scared you'd really leave me." Didn't push her away. He held her tightly in his arms, protecting her. Everyone watched as he took Tang Isabella away, leaving me behind. That night, He didn't come home. Tang Isabella posted a message on Weibo at midnight, saying, "You said you'd never hold anyone else's hand again." The photo showed their intertwined fingers. The man in the photo had a red mole on the back of his hand. It was Joe. And I was the person he would never hold hands with again. 10 minutes later, the post went viral. My haters commented on Tang Isabella's post, "Sis, keep going. You and Alexander are a perfect match. You two must get back together. I don't care about my values anymore. I support Alexander cheating. I just can't stand seeing Song Yue, that scheming bitch, happy. So many people are waiting to see me humiliated." Some people also left messages for Joe. "Bro, that's not you, right? I've been a fan of yours for so many years. I can tell how much your wife cares about you. You mustn't betray her." Joe and I are tied to many couple endorsements, and the breach of contract fee is an astronomical figure. We're most afraid of causing a scandal. The agent couldn't contact Joe, so they called me instead, asking me to come up with a plan to deceive the netizens by saying that Joe and I are together. I flipped through my photo album and realized there were very few photos of Joe and me together. In those few photos, I was the only one smiling. After picking through them, I posted an old photo of Joe sitting by a desk lamp reading a book. The dim light enveloped him, reminding me of the person who always appeared in my dreams, making me cry. As soon as the photo was posted, netizens started leaving comments. "Look, old Joe is at home with his wife. Anyone who says old Joe is cheating will have their mouth torn off." Everyone was cursing Tang Isabella for being shameless and seeking attention. A few minutes later, Joe reposted Tang Isabella's Weibo post. Under the photo of them holding hands, he wrote, "It's me." He openly admitted their relationship, exposing my self-staged clarification. He abandoned me again for Tang Isabella. Tang Isabella's fans flooded my Weibo, mocking me, "You tried to act tough but got humiliated. It's so satisfying. Song bitch, you liar. Isabella gave you 3 years, and you couldn't win Joe.He's heart. You're useless. Who said I wanted Joe.He's heart? I deleted all information about him from my phone. I want a divorce." The next morning, the company called me back to handle Joe.He's scandal crisis. Unfortunately, I just arrived and ran into Tang Isabella. Probably because Joe.He didn't want her to be alone, he brought her along. As soon as she saw me, she apologized, "Yue sister, I'm sorry for last night. I was drunk and posted nonsense on Weibo. He followed me and caused trouble for you. I've already scolded him. He only knows how to take my side and doesn't think about you at all. What a straight man, so stupid. The people online are so mean. They say you're my stand-in. It's hilarious. They don't know how much I want to thank you for taking care of me all these years." She smiled sweetly at me. I smiled back at her. "I'm Joe.He's wife. A wife takes care of her husband, there's no need for others to thank me. As for you, you were called a mistress last night. Don't take it to heart." Tang Isabella's expression changed. She glanced at me up and down, then suddenly fixed her gaze on the ring on my finger. She smiled and said, "Yue, you're wearing my wedding ring. You should give it back to me." As she spoke, she reached out to grab my hand. I was annoyed and swung my arm, accidentally hitting her face. Tang Isabella suddenly swung her bag at me. The metal on the bag scraped my forehead, drawing blood. She hit me with such force that I felt my ears ringing. I raised my hand to hit her back, but someone grabbed my wrist from behind. Joe.He suddenly appeared, coldly warning me, "Song Yue, don't you dare touch her." When I turned around, he saw the blood on my face, froze for a moment, frowned at Tang Isabella, and asked, "Did you hit her?" Tang Isabella tearfully shook her head and said, She called me a mistress and tried to hit me. I was dodging her when the bag hit her. I didn't mean to. I'm apologizing to her." As she cried, Joe.He felt sorry for her. Hearing her say that, Joe.He ruffled her hair and praised her for doing well. "If someone hits you, hit them back. I'm here, you don't need to apologize to anyone." I suddenly envied Tang Isabella. Actually, I'm pretty emotional too, but the person who used to feel sorry for me is no longer here. The agent Jessica couldn't stand it anymore. She pointed at me and shouted at Zhou, "This is your wife. Zhou, are you blind? You're holding on to a green tea girl and won't let go. What does Yue lack compared to Tang Isabella? Did you forget that you said you wanted to have a child with Yue? Did you forget that you said you only felt like you had a home when you were with Yue? Now that you're hurting her like this, are you sure you won't regret it later?" I instinctively touched my stomach. Inside my body, there was a tiny life just beginning to grow. Zhou smiled, glancing at me indifferently, his voice calm and emotionless. "Perhaps I did once like Song Yue, but Isabella is back. What about Song Yue, Li Yue, or Wang Yue? They all have to step aside. In the past, Zhou probably only liked me for a short time, just a fleeting moment. Now that Tang Isabella is back, he's going to love her." I took off the ring on my ring finger, a ring that didn't belong to me, and returned it to Zhou. Zhou's smile slowly faded. After a moment of silence, he reached out to take it. Jessica pulled me back, looked at my stomach, and gave me a meaningful glance. "Yue, don't be foolish. You've already..." Tang Isabella interrupted her, snatching the ring from her hand. She slipped it onto her own finger but found the band a bit too small. Her smile froze slightly, and she tossed the ring into the trash can. She clung to Zhou's arm and pouted, "Never mind, don't be angry with me. I don't want a ring that another woman has worn, it's dirty." Zhou ignored her and stared at me, asking in a low voice, "What have you done?" I glanced at him indifferently and turned to leave. "Zhou, I'm pregnant, you don't need to know." Zhou was an extremely perceptive person. Jessica's hints were so obvious, I thought he must have guessed most of it. I had been taking medication for a long time, which was affecting my health and could harm the fetus. This pregnancy was an accident, and the doctor advised me to terminate it. I didn't want to continue entangling myself with Zhou because of this child. Before the abortion, I moved out of the house to avoid seeing him and prevent him from causing trouble for me. Though, Zhou probably doesn't care at all. He didn't contact me and continued living his life as usual. Jessica sent me a video. It was at an auction, where Zhou gave Tang Isabella a stunning diamond ring, and Tang Isabella smiled and threw herself into his arms. They were a perfect match, made for each other. Right, how could I forget? Zhou had said it before, Tang Isabella was back. Whether it's Song Yue or her children, they all have to step aside. That's fine. The day before the surgery, I suddenly felt a strong sense of anxiety. I remembered the jade Buddha amulet my mother had asked me to keep for her before she passed away, which was still in the safe at home, so I decided to go back and get it. When I arrived home, I discovered that the door code had been changed. Standing at my own front door, unable to enter, I suddenly felt quite helpless. Fuming, I called Zhou. The person who answered was Tang Isabella. She started with a triumphant laugh. "Sister Yue, today is my birthday. Fanny insisted on taking me to wait for the meteor shower, so we won't be coming back tonight." I told him before that lovers who make wishes on shooting stars will be together forever, and I didn't expect him to remember. "I'm so happy. But I can't give you the password. After all, neither of us is home, and it wouldn't be appropriate for you, a stranger, to go in." I hung up the phone, opened the password lock, and entered today's date. The door opened. The password was Tang Isabella's birthday. Inside the house, all traces of my life had been erased. The wedding photo of Zhou and me on the TV cabinet had been replaced with a photo of him and Tang Isabella. Back then, they were still so young. Zhou was holding Tang Isabella, smiling happily. The succulents I had been nurturing were thrown away along with their pots, and my study had been turned into Tang Isabella's piano room. I stood there in shock, then ran into the bedroom, opened the wardrobe, and found it filled with a row of sexy lace nightgowns, not mine. The safe was at the bottom. I pressed the fingerprint sensor, trembling, and took out all the jewelry, cash, and documents inside. But no matter how hard I looked, I couldn't find the jade Buddha pendant my mother had left me. It was the only thing my mother had ever given me. Tang Isabella knew that. So she must have thrown it away. Tang Isabella has always hated me and my mom. When I was in school, my mom worked as a maid at Zhou Fengyi's house. Tang Isabella came to Zhou Fengyi's house with her parents to play. The first time we met, Alexander's parents introduced me to them. They said I was obedient, well-behaved, studious, and smart. Tang Isabella pretended to be friendly and said she wanted to be my friend. Behind my back, she said to me, "So what if you study well? You'll just end up working for us after you graduate." Her mother also hated me, always smiling sweetly. What's there to be happy about for a maid? A poor old woman giving birth to a poor little girl, disgusting. My mother picked me up from school and encountered Tang Isabella. She called my mom a whore in English, but my mom didn't understand. She praised Tang Isabella for being pretty and cute and gave her some sweet potatoes she had baked. Tang Isabella turned around and threw them into the trash can, mocking my mom, "It smells awful. Even dogs won't eat it." My mom was at a loss, her face so red she couldn't lift her head, and the people around us burst into laughter. I dropped my backpack and went to pull Tang Isabella's hair. My mom saw me being hit and rushed forward to shield me. She was kicked by Tang Isabella's friend and fell to the ground, bleeding heavily. That day, my mom was diagnosed with uterine cancer. Those terrible cancer cells appeared secretly and quietly took my mom's life. That jade pendant was something my mother had hidden from me before she died. She had gone to the Rocky Mountains, kneeling and bowing her head with every step, to beg for it for me. She said the Buddha of the Rocky Mountains was the most powerful Buddha. I held back my tears and asked her why. She smiled and said it was a secret she couldn't tell me. Actually, I knew. When I was a child, I had been seriously ill, and my mother had gone to the Rocky Mountains to pray to the Buddha for my protection. She vowed to give up half of her life in exchange for my health and safety. Later, my illness was cured. The merciful Buddha took my mother away. When Tang Isabella found out, she mocked my mother, saying, "You superstitious peasant. What good is keeping a piece of junk? Why not sell a kidney or a liver to get some money for your daughter?" At 2 in the morning, Zhou Fengyi returned with Tang Isabella. As they entered the door, Tang Isabella clung to Zhou Fengyi's neck, whining and begging him, "Fengyi, will you sleep with me tonight? Please? I want to give myself to you." She said this while pressing her lips against his, but Zhou Fengyi dodged her. I sat on the sofa, watching Tang Isabella act so shamelessly. Zhou Fengyi's gaze fell on me. Tang Isabella froze, turned to see me, and smiled provocatively. "Sister Yue, if I had known you were home, I would have made Zhou Fengyi come back earlier. We didn't see any shooting stars tonight, and he was afraid I'd be disappointed, so he insisted on taking me to set off fireworks. Sister Yue, I'm sorry. If you're angry, take it out on me. Don't be angry with Fengyi." I had drunk some wine and felt dizzy as I stood up and walked toward her. I asked directly, "Where's my jade pendant?" Tang Isabella blinked nervously, still smiling. "You mean the jade pendant in the safe? I accidentally broke it while packing. It didn't look valuable, so I threw it away." Tears suddenly fell from my eyes, and in an instant, my hands and feet went cold, and my lips trembled uncontrollably. All I could think of was the afternoon my mother died, when she held me tightly and wiped away my tears over and over again. She told me not to be afraid, that she wouldn't leave. She said she had made a promise to the Buddha. As long as the jade plaque was there, my mother would be there. I threw the wine glass at Tang Isabella, shattering it on the marble floor, and the shards cut her leg. She was scared, took 2 steps back, and hid behind Zhou Fengyi. She cried pitifully, "It hurts." I tore at her collar, screaming hysterically, "Where did you throw it? Where did you throw it?" Zhou Fengyi came to stop me, but I slapped him across the face and shouted, "We're not divorced yet. What right do you have to bring her back? What right do you have to let her touch my things? What right do you have? Are you so eager to sleep with her? Zhou Fengyi, you're disgusting." He embraced me roughly, stroking my hair, and spoke in a low voice to drown out my cries, "Yue, calm down. I'll take you to find your jade pendant, okay? Don't cry, I beg you, don't cry. It breaks my heart to see you like this. My jade pendant was thrown away by Tang Isabella this morning, it should still be there." Zhou Fengyi drove me to the landfill, speeding all the way. He helped me search through the trash, a man with OCD, not afraid of dirt or stench, getting his hands covered in mud. We searched from dusk till dawn, but I found nothing. When the sun rose, I suddenly felt utterly helpless. The golden light on the horizon stung my eyes. I bit my lip to hold back the tears, clenching my jaw, refusing to let myself cry. The elderly couple at the dump site saw how pitiful I was and came to help me search. Finally, just as I was about to give up, the old lady called out to me, "Dear, come take a look." "Is this it?" I jumped to my feet, feeling dizzy, and without thinking, I pulled my shoe out of the trash and ran over. The old woman was holding a sandalwood box, and inside were scattered pieces of jade. It was my jade pendant, but it was broken. I should have been happy. At least I found it. I tried to smile, but as soon as the corners of my mouth twitched, tears began to fall in big drops. "Mom, you said as long as the jade pendant is here, you'll be here, right? But the jade pendant is broken. Will you still be here? Please don't leave me." Joe.He reached out, pulled me into his arms, and comforted me. "Don't be sad. I'll find someone to fix it." I pushed him away and shook my head, saying it was okay, there was no need. Moments later, Joe.He's voice grew cold. He almost gritted his teeth as he scolded me. "Song-Yue, every time you tell me it's okay, I feel like strangling you. You depend on me once, and you can't even die?" I stared at him silently. Joe.He's phone suddenly rang. It was Tang Isabella calling. He hesitated for 2 seconds before answering. Tang Isabella was crying on the other end. "Fanny, I was planning to come find you both and apologize properly to Sister Yue. But I got lost, and there's a man following me. I'm so scared." Joe.He no longer cared about me. He turned and walked away. Just then, the hospital sent me a text message. Today was the day I had scheduled my abortion. On Tang Isabella's birthday, I lost my mother and the child I had never met. Before entering the operating room, the anesthesia began to take effect. I fell into a dream filled with memories. That year, I was 16 and had worked hard to get into one of the top high schools in the country. I entered the same school as Tang Isabella, Joe.He, and the boy I loved. From then on, my nightmare began. I didn't understand why Tang Isabella liked to bully me so much. She would bring her friends and stick the leftover bubble gum in my hair, throw used sanitary pads into my backpack. They would trip me up when I walked by. They would also pour dirty water on my head when I went to the bathroom. I wasn't without resistance, and the teachers knew about it, but they did nothing. Later, when I was on my period and in pain, I had just found some painkillers and was about to take them when Tang Isabella snatched them away. She smiled sweetly and demanded that I kneel down and beg her. I clenched my teeth and endured the pain, but it kept coming in waves, torturing me. I was afraid I couldn't hold on any longer and would have to surrender to Tang Isabella. The other students were betting on how long I could endure it. I looked at the red $100 bills on the desk and couldn't help but cry out. Suddenly, someone leaned against my desk, casting a shadow over me. He picked up the money, counted it, and smiled smugly. "Not bad, that's a decent amount. Consider it your offering to Grandpa." As he stuffed the money into his pocket, the others didn't dare utter a word. He motioned to Tang Isabella with a wink, still smiling, but his smile was cold. "Medicine, give it to me. This Emily is mine now. From now on, she belongs to me. Anyone who touches her, I'll deal with them. Everyone, did you hear that? He's Joe.He's good-for-nothing older brother, always causing trouble and never learning his lesson. Actually, I've never liked him much. But today, he helped me out. I guess it's because he got into a fight with someone and ended up covered in injuries. The elders at home didn't ask why, they just punished him and berated him. Only my mom secretly cared about him, applying medicine to his wounds. It seems like he's repaying her kindness. From that day on, Emily, also had my own loyal caretaker. When I woke up from the anesthesia, Jessica was holding my hand. She had cried a lot. I asked her why she was crying. She said I had been talking in my sleep for a long time. She asked me, "Where did the boy you love go?" I looked at the tall building across the street and closed my eyes. I whispered softly, He flew away with the wind. I turned off my phone and vanished from the world for half a month. According to Jessica, child.He had been searching for me frantically. The first thing I did after being discharged from the hospital was to take the divorce agreement to meet him. child.He remained silent for a moment before coldly smiling. He glanced at the agreement, tossed it onto the coffee table, then fixed his gaze on my stomach and said slowly, "Before we divorce, isn't there something else we need to discuss?" I smiled calmly and replied, "There was, but not anymore. I had the baby removed. Rest assured, you have no reason to worry." child.He's pupils trembled, and he froze for a moment. He lowered his head and suddenly laughed. "Song-Yue, you disappeared for half a month just to do this? Aw. I was afraid you'd be upset, so I searched the entire country for an expert to repair the jade artifact. And this is how you treat me?" He grabbed me and threw me onto the sofa, pinning me beneath him, and asked fiercely, "Why did you do this to me? How dare you? How could you?" Perhaps it was because I was too obedient in the past. Everyone thought I was deeply in love with child.He, including himself. I looked up at his face and gently stroked his eyebrows and eyes. I told him calmly, "child.He, the person I love has never been you. Your angry expression is truly unattractive. You are becoming less and less like him." At first, finding a stand-in did bring me some comfort. But over time, I realized that when he smiled, it wasn't him, and when he didn't smile, it wasn't him either. Even his hugs weren't as warm as his. "I'm tired of it." child.He knew who I was talking about. His tears suddenly fell, landing on my cheek. "Living this long, you really do see some strange things." child.He, who was always so high and mighty, didn't even cry when Tang Isabella left. Today, he cried for me. How interesting, how disgusting. I wiped the tears off my face in disgust and told him, "Don't feel wronged. Our relationship started as a transaction, didn't it? You used me as a tool to vent your anger, and I used you as a stand-in for entertainment. We owe each other nothing." Before I could finish, child.He interrupted me. His eyes suddenly turned red, and for a moment, he looked like a lost puppy. He said, "Song-Yue, you have no right to tell me we owe each other nothing. Do you know that when I gave Tang Isabella the ring, I wasn't happy at all? I tried so hard to love her like I used to, but all I could think about was you. When you disappeared, I'd wake up in the middle of the night, panicking. Song-Yue, you made me fall in love with you, and now you tell me we owe each other nothing? Screw that." He said this, grabbing my face with both hands, like a fierce wolf, gritting his teeth and threatening me, "Want a divorce? You're dreaming." Tang Isabella, who had been hiding in the room eavesdropping, pushed open the door and walked out, looking dazed and disheveled, standing awkwardly in the middle of the living room. She choked out, "child.He, what are you saying?" As child.He was about to stand up, I grabbed his tie and pulled him closer to me. Catching a glimpse of Tang Isabella clenching her fists, I smiled. I asked child.He, "Back when we were in school, even though we weren't in the same class, you should know how Tang Isabella bullied me, right? You can try begging me not to divorce you, but the first condition is that you must return all the money you borrowed from her to pay off her debts. Now, make her get out of here immediately." Tang Isabella panicked, crying and saying, "Fanny, everyone has been young and ignorant, haven't they? Besides, you know I was just joking with Yue's sister. If she's angry, I'll apologize to her, okay?" She knelt down on the ground, begging, "Yue's sister, I only have Fanny left. Please don't take him away from me, okay? Fanny, those debt collectors are terrifying. You've seen them. If you really don't want me anymore, if you want the money back, I might be." child.He furrowed his brows, staring into my eyes. After hesitating for a long time, he finally said, "I'm sorry. He always does this. He says he loves me with his mouth, but when it comes to making choices, he always sides with Tang Isabella. So hypocritical." I laughed and slapped him across the face. I scolded him, "What were you pretending to be so deep about just now? You don't need to apologize. I was just teasing you anyway. child.He, who you love has nothing to do with me." child.He's eyes flashed with pain, then grew cold as he pushed me away. He walked toward Tang Isabella, slowly embraced her, and whispered comfortingly, "It's okay, don't be afraid. It's all my fault for speaking recklessly. I don't want anyone else, and I won't leave you. I promise." Tang Isabella hit his shoulders, crying tearfully, but clung tightly to his neck, unwilling to let go. Seeing her frightened expression, I felt a sense of satisfaction. On the day Zhou Fengyi and I divorced, Tang Isabella came along too. She held Zhou Fengyi's hand tightly, afraid I'd slip him some love potion and have him seduced away. When we got the divorce papers, she visibly relaxed. While Zhou Fengyi went to get the car, she came over to provoke me again. "While we were arguing, you got to be Mrs. Zhou for 3 years. Consider it a gift from me. Song Yue, remember this, you'll always be the poor little brat born to a poor old man. Be careful from now on. I'll make sure you suffer." I grabbed her hair, and she screamed in pain. I leaned close to her ear and whispered with a smile, "Tang Isabella, I have evidence of your murder." She froze, her face turning panic-stricken. I stared at her satisfiedly and continued, "But don't worry, I'm not as cruel as you. I don't want you dead, I just want you to live in agony." After we officially announced our divorce, Zhou Fengyi couldn't shake off the label of having an affair during his marriage. He didn't care. He was a male celebrity and an Academy Award-winning actor, such scandals were trivial to him. Someone would always choose to forgive him. He began taking Tang Isabella to various public events, issuing statements to clear her name, and paving the way for her to act again. Zhou Fengyi is wealthy and powerful, such a minor matter was quickly resolved. When we met again, Tang Isabella had already finished filming a big-budget movie and made a high-profile comeback. Tonight is an elderly mentor's birthday. I couldn't refuse the invitation. As soon as I arrived at the banquet hall entrance, I saw Tang Isabella arm in arm with Zhou Fengyi greeting me. "Sister Yue, it's been ages. I heard you recently filmed a niche genre movie. Did you run into some difficulties? Why did your resources drop so much?" In front of Zhou Fengyi, Tang Isabella always acted very obedient. She had already forgotten the words I said, that I would make her wish she were dead. Perhaps she thought nothing had happened after all this time, assuming I was just bluffing. Jessica scolded her disdainfully, "Miss Tang, don't talk nonsense if you don't understand. Niche genres don't mean downgraded resources. The director won an international award. What you're saying is so offensive." Tang Isabella's expression changed slightly, then she smiled again. She leaned against Zhou Fengyi's arm and pouted, "It doesn't matter if I offend people. I have my husband anyway. We've always been like this. I cause trouble, and he cleans it up. As long as he's around, I'm not afraid of anything." I didn't bother to respond. After handing over the gift and signing my name, I was ready to leave. Tang Isabella suddenly called out to me and pulled out an invitation from her bag. "Sister Yue, I forgot to tell you. I'm getting married to Fengyi in October. I hope you can come." Zhou Fengyi's brows furrowed slightly as he glanced at her. No one expected me to stop in my tracks, look at the pink invitation, and smile as I accepted it. I chatted with Tang Isabella for a while. "You guys did a great job keeping it a secret. I hadn't even heard about it. Unlike me back then, your husband insisted on live streaming the entire thing, as if he wanted the whole world to know we got married. It looked glamorous, but it was actually pretty annoying." Seeing Tang Isabella's expression change, I turned and walked away, tossing the invitation into the trash. "Mr. Zhou Fengyi, Miss Tang Isabella. I hope you have a wedding you'll never forget." I heard that Tang Isabella argued with Zhou Fengyi for a long time over the wedding, eventually changing the secret ceremony into a live broadcast. She's so stupid. What's so great about a public spectacle of a wedding? What Zhou Fengyi truly wanted to give her was protection, but she didn't understand. I'm counting down the days until their wedding. I want them to stand before the world as husband and wife, to live and die together, to sink or swim together. After that class reunion, I received an anonymous video. I don't know which old classmate it was, but they told me Ethan's death was not a suicide. I'm sorry I didn't dare tell you before, I was afraid of being retaliated against by Tang Isabella. Ethan. It's been so long since anyone mentioned his name. That night, I watched the video over and over again, finally understanding why he died on the day he fell from the rooftop, the day I had planned to confess my feelings to him. It was because of me. On the day of Jo-Fanny and Tang Isabella's wedding, I stayed glued to the live stream, afraid of missing their happy expressions. Tang Isabella, wearing a custom-made wedding dress, walked down the aisle lined with white roses. Jo-Fanny waited for her at the end, looking so gentle. It was a scene worthy of the saying, "True lovers eventually end up together." Under the priest's witness, they confessed their feelings to each other, swearing to remain faithful to one another forever, through sickness and health, until death do them part. The chaos began at that very moment. A video suddenly went viral online, filmed on the rooftop of the school. In the footage, two people were clearly visible, Tang Isabella's slightly shy face and another boy who bore a striking resemblance to Jo-Fanny. It was snowing that day, and Tang Isabella stood on the edge of the rooftop, swaying precariously. She cried out to the boy, "Is it because you'd rather watch me die than be with me?" The boy grew impatient. "How many times do I have to tell you? I already have someone I love. Are you deaf?" Tang Isabella refused to believe him, continuing to argue, "Who is she? Who is she? There's no one in school as beautiful as me. Is it that country bumpkin song why? What does she have that I don't? I've liked you for 2 years. I like you so much I'd die for you. Does she dare?" Perhaps unable to bear hearing the person he liked being insulted, the boy laughed coldly. "Tang Isabella, I know exactly what you are. Your little tricks might work on Jo-Fanny, but you're not good enough to play games with me. I'll say this once, hand over Song Yoe's photos. If you dare to mess with her again, I'll kill you, do you believe me?" Tang Isabella glared at him, saying nothing for a long time. Much later, she suddenly jumped off the rooftop with a smile, shrugged her shoulders, and said, "You really have no taste. Do you know how many people like me? You're just the least favored child in Alexander's family. What gives you the nerve to act so arrogant toward me? I'm giving you face, and you don't even appreciate it. You want Song Yoe's nude photos, do you? Fine, come and get them yourself. If you can't get them, don't blame me for spreading them around and letting the whole world see what kind of trash that country bumpkin really is." She pulled out a memory card from her pocket and held it high. As the boy charged toward her, she suddenly crouched down. That day, the rooftop was slippery, and the wind was strong. A boy turned into a butterfly, lingered for a moment, then flew away with the wind. I still remember how dark the sky was that day. He ruffled my hair and asked me to wait for him after school to go home together. I touched the love letter I had written in my desk, blushing, and nodded. Later, he left and never came back. That confession letter is still carefully stored in my backpack. During the live stream, someone stopped the ceremony and showed Jo-Fanny the phone. Tang Isabella's face turned pale. She grabbed Jo-Fanny's collar and cried out, "Don't look. Don't look! Fanny, that's not real. I didn't mean to. He fell to his death, it has nothing to do with me. I didn't expect the rooftop to be so slippery. How could I have thought he was so useless, unable to even stand properly?" Jo-Fanny pushed her to the ground with force. Her diamond hairpin fell to the ground, her hair scattered, and her makeup smeared across her face. A crowd of journalists swarmed around her, snapping photos frantically. The wedding she had long anticipated turned into a grand funeral. It was so embarrassing, but it felt so satisfying. "Tang Isabella, I told you I'd make you wish you were dead, and I wasn't joking." The scandal sparked a massive public outcry, with people online beginning to list all the bad things Tang Isabella had done since she was a child. Some were true, some were false. Netizens started discussing how social status, family background, and upbringing influence a person's character. Some said there's a certain type of child who's simply born evil. I wholeheartedly agree. Tang Isabella had caused severe harm to society. On the day of her arrest, she looked haggard, huddling to avoid the cameras. Under the relentless flashes of cameras, she broke down in tears, screaming, "Don't take my picture. Don't cyberbully me. I know I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Please spare me." She finally tasted the fear she had inflicted on others. She was sentenced to many years in prison. It is said that one of the people she had bullied ended up being her cellmate. I think she will take good care of her. He was also implicated by Tang Isabella, blacklisted by the industry, and expelled from Alexander's family. Over the years, he had made many enemies in the industry, and as soon as he fell, people began to turn against him. First, they uncovered his large tax issues and drained his finances. Then they hired people to follow him, causing trouble for him every few days. Someone even took photos of him being robbed by a group of thugs on the streets of the United States. When he resisted, he was stabbed. Everyone said that once Tang Isabella returned, He would abandon me. There's also a rather amusing incident. His parents, who had never cared about Ethan before, not even when he died, suddenly appeared on camera, claiming Ethan was such a filial child, though he had a bad temper, but his character was upright. Their tears seemed genuine. But they didn't even know what flowers Ethan liked. They placed large bouquets of chrysanthemums at his grave. I ran back several times to remove them all. Ethan hated chrysanthemums the most. He was very picky and always said they smelled bad. I cleaned his little home for him and sat by his side to soak up the sun with him. I really want to talk to him. What should I say? Let me think. I'll just tell him something he's never heard before, that I love him.